Good evening, everybody. Hope all is doing well. Really appreciate you all taking the time to connect with us on this kind of expanded gridiron conversation and check in with the season. Again, everybody should know Chris Clooney. Obviously, I've got head coach Sauce Dakar here, and wanted to take an opportunity to just connect with you all, checking on where we are in the season. This is a great group. First off, just want to thank you all for your continued support. This group that we have is kind of a group of our biggest and longest supporters from throughout the years, not just from an investment level, but just from a support of the program. So really thankful for all that you all have done and to continue to do to help make Davidson football great. I'm going to speak very briefly at the very beginning. I wanted to kind of outline just the landscape that we're in right now. Saj and I talk a lot about what we can control and what we can't, and there are a number of things that we have not been able to control, and a lot of kind of ties to just the national landscape. So I just kind of wanted to set the stage and then kind of turn it over to Saz to talk about the season to date and kind of where we are and how we're going to look out to close out, these last three games in positive fashion. But as you guys will recall, I sent out a community letter in February just about the state of college athletics and where we are as an institution, as an athletics program in the landscape. And that landscape has shifted dramatically. Um, when we had, the last coaching staff on board coming in 2018, when we had that changeover, we had no transfers, effectively no transfers back in 2018. And a big part of that was because the transfer portal didn't exist, right? It was a totally different landscape. You still had to sit out a year and lose a year of eligibility. And so not as many people transferred. And you fast forward to 2024. And we have roughly 30, seniors graduate and 12 transfers on top of that, right? And so the level of transition every time you have a coaching change is so much more significant now than it ever has been. And Davidson has always had its natural disadvantages, right? It's 2,000 students, high academic rigor and qualifications to get in, not having grad school, and all of those things sort of tie into this. And so it's no different than what you're seeing, and a lot of folks on here are basketball fans as well, and fans of all athletics. But if you look at the transition in 22 from head coach Bob McKillop to Matt McKillop, the landscape is different. I tell people that basketball, when the season ended, Bob had to recruit high school students, and maybe he looked at transfers, and maybe he had to re-recruit his own team. And then you flip that now, and Matt, the first thing he has to do is re-recruit his own team, and the second thing he has to do is look at transfers, and the third thing he has to do is maybe look at high school seniors, and that's just completely flipped on its head. And Matt is just now in this fourth season, probably getting on solid footing and figuring things out. The challenges are different with football, but there are some things that cross over. The biggest thing is the transfer portal, right? It's Davidson is not built to sort of absorb 12 transfers because we're not going to be able to bring 12 transfers in. Davidson is not built to rely too heavily on the transfer portal because our academic standards are so high. We don't have grad school, and so you put all of that together, and it's a perfect storm of kind of a new transition and changeover and all of that. And so those are the things we can't control. I also will understand, and Sal will speak to it. Like there are things we can control. And have we done all of those things well up to this point? Not always. And there's some things that we wish we could have done better. Um, Styles and I were just talking about it'd be nice to have picked up a couple first downs on Saturday in the fourth quarter, right? Like it would have changed things, but like those are the things we can control and we need to do better, and we will, right? But just it's important to understand the full landscape and then understand that things are different, and also understand that Davidson will always be committed to trying to navigate the new landscape, right? So I think in a couple years we'll probably have some sort of graduate certificate program. Saj and I have already worked with admissions to understand the transfer portal window, right? The new transfer portal window that's coming in January, and to take advantage of that. So even though bringing in transfers is not going to be our primary way of bringing in scholar athletes, it is something we are going to look to tap into, and we will do so. And just fully understanding the value of the Davidson education and continuing to recruit kids that want and understand the value of this incredible educational experience. And so I just wanted to set the stage for you all. And so many of you all know this. You guys talk to me often. And but it's also important that you kind of share that as well, right? This isn't a whole completely open Zoom to the entire Davidson football world. Like we wanted to bring in a few select targeted folks because of your support of the program, but also because of your the impact that you have and the folks that you talk to, and whether you're alums or parents, whatever it may be, just helping folks understand like where we are. You know, this is a different space and different time, but we're going to figure it out and move forward. And I feel wholly confident in what we've done, especially these last couple games, and you've seen the growth and seen the trajectory that we're trying to move towards. So, with that, I'll turn it over to Coach Stakar to kind of give an update on where we are in the season, and then what I will do is, if you do have questions, please put them into the Q&A, and when Saj is done kind of speaking, I'll moderate questions, and so we can kind of get some back and forth dialogue. So, Coach, take it over.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate those words about the program. And to Chris's point, first off, just want to say, thank you to all you for your continued support of our program. I know this is a special group, and just looking at the names that are on here, pretty much gotten to speak with or spend time with everyone who's on here, and the support you guys show to me, my family, our team just means the world to us. And look, and I understand from everyone's perspective, starting, from within our locker room and in our building, this year's been disappointed. Our players, our staff, the Gridiron Club, and it's not the standard that we want for our program. There's no world that I would have imagined that we'd be sitting here right now at this point in the season with only one win. And I understand that it's my responsibility to get our program to the point that we are competing for championships and providing an unbelievable student athlete experience that's second to none. Um, Kind of the way I see it right now is that no one in our program is happy about where we're at this season, but there also isn't anyone in our program, that includes staff, players, support staff, that isn't excited, very excited about where we're going in the future. To Chris's point, and I know many of you kind of share the same sentiment. It's never easy, especially at a place like Davidson, to make up for a roster loss of about 42 people when you consider seniors and the transfers that left. And when you have 12 transfers leave, all of whom would have been returning starters or returning contributors for us, it makes it really hard to replace. We're never going to be at a place, like Chris was saying, where we can bring in 12 transfers to replace 12. For us to be the program we want to be, we need to recruit better than anyone else in the country, and find the guys that are right for us. But we also need to retain and develop better than anyone else in the country. And in this day and age of college athletics, the retention piece is as hard as it's ever been. Currently, for us right now, about 65% of our starters are not physically or really mentally ready to play a full season at the Division I level. We roll out every week, going into games, and we are smaller and not as strong as the teams we are playing, and we understand that. And going into the future of this program, it's going to really change how we develop our players. Our player development program and our strength and conditioning has to be in the forefront for us to grow our players internally, physically, mentally, and emotionally to the point that we are playing and competing at the championship level. So far this season, 20 freshmen have played for us significantly, and it bodes really well for the future of our program. It's a talented freshman group. It's a group that loves to play, that love each other, that are awesome to have in the locker room, that will compete with the best of them. But, the reality of it is that physically, they're a year or two away from really being able to compete for a 12-game schedule at our level. Combine that so far, and it's kind of perfect storm. We currently got 27 players on the IR. And anytime you have that on an already young team, you get even younger and even less experienced than what you were to start the season. To me, that's all a product of our player development and how we're handling our off season going forward. So in the future, we don't have this issue. And because of some of the injuries we had and kind of where we're at from a youth standpoint, we've had to drastically change kind of how we schematically do things and simplify a lot of our offense, defense, and special team schemes to give ourselves the best chance to execute well on game day. And it also had to change the way we practice to make sure that we are getting our best players or as many of our best players as possible to game day healthy, playing at a high level. I think the past 2 weeks have really shown us and our staff, who we can be. 2 weeks ago against San Diego, we go into the fourth quarter in a tie game. This past week, we take the lead going into the fourth. The step we now got to take, and that I have to do a better job as the head football coach, is teaching our team what it takes to finish football games, to win in the fourth quarter. When you are in a tie game and need to take the lead, play from behind, or need to put a game away. This past weekend, I told our team this too, and we're really honest with our team and kind of how we see things and what went on. And I told them for 3.5 quarters, we were the better team by a 10-point margin, and for the last 6 minutes of the game, they were 15 points better than us. And that's just what it was. We weren't able to get a first down when we needed a first down. We weren't able to get a stop when we needed a stop. And I don't want that to take away from all the positives our team did. We had a freshman come up with a sack in a key moment. We had a senior who's playing pretty much with one arm and one leg come up with a blocked field goal to give ourselves a chance to win at the end of the game. We ran for more yards than we did all season. So we did a lot of good things, and now it's on us as a coaching staff really to take that next step. We see the progress, we see the growth, we see our players really playing together, fighting for each other, competing. And the number one thing that makes that evident to me is just the absolute awesome energy that we have every single day in our building. We meet a couple days a week early in the morning. We practice at night. We got lifts. Our guys are in here spending extra time with the trainers, trying to get healthy, and the energy, the enthusiasm, the level of competition at practice, in the meeting room, in the film room, has never been higher. Like, you wouldn't know if we were in the middle of a season or if we were in the first day of camp or the first day of spring ball. Our guys love being around our staff. They love being on the field, and they really want to get coached. And, they're starting to see the fruits of their labor and all the work that they've put in, the all the tests we faced early on, and the improvement we've made. They're starting to see it. They're playing faster. They're playing with more confidence, and they're starting to have a lot more fun now that they're doing that. As it always is, it really in anything, we need to continue to evolve. Just kind of talking to Chris's point of kind of things we can control, kind of going into this with the mindset of, hey, the things we're doing here or started to do here were things in the past that I've had a lot of success with, and how we've ran practice and how we've ran the off season and meetings. And just realizing that maybe, we need to evolve some things and change. And we started to do that. We've changed like I said, we've changed the way in which we've practiced. We've changed our script slightly from a day-to-day standpoint and how we do things to maximize our time with our players, but still keeping them fresh and not wasting their time and being here when they don't need to be here. We've simplified things schematically, and as coaches, we're always looking for better ways to do things. And as we go into this next phase now, into the last 3 weeks of the season, our number one priority is to win football games. We want our players to play hard and play winning football and really focus on the process of what it takes to win. Continue to prepare at a really high level. Continue to focus on all the little things that matter on game day of alignment, assignment, and communication, and not really be concerned with kind of that outside noise and that overall record. Just really take it one game at a time, which our team has done the last 2 weeks. And I feel obviously really bad for our players that the work that's shown on film, the work that's shown, and the fact that we're competing right there in the fourth quarter hasn't quite been reflected on our record yet. But I think everyone that's in our program, that's been around our program, sees where we're at and the growth that's being made. And now the next step for us is to finish these games, is to not just take a lead into the fourth quarter, but finish the game with the lead in the fourth quarter and celebrate in the locker room and with our fans and with our supporters. Like, there's nothing more that I want for our players than that. As we go into this stretch run as well, we have a group of seniors who went through a coaching change, and that's never easy in college football. They were recruited here by obviously a different staff, pretty much entirely, to play a different style of football. And they have been nothing but exceptional for us and our staff, and welcomed us in and have taken all the coaching and brought great energy and leadership to practice and in the community and on campus. And they've been mine and our staff's number one fan when they talk to people. And I've gotten great feedback from what they're saying about the program and the experience they are having. I know our program is better for them and kind of their leadership. And I want nothing more, and our team wants nothing more than to send those guys out on a high note these last three games. Starting with this weekend with the great Presbyterian team coming to town that's been nationally ranked all season. An awesome challenge for us and our team and our staff to put together a great game plan, have a great week of practice, and go out and get the job done. Come Saturday. And I'll just leave it. I'll leave it with this and kind of what I said at the beginning. Like, I am extremely excited about the future of our program. I know that playing a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds is not easy when they're 17 and 18, but it makes it a lot better when they're now 19, 20, 21 into their junior and senior year, and they have 15, 20 games of experience under their belt, and 2, 3 years in our development program in a collegiate weight room, get their feet underneath them. I know we're in a great spot for the future, but we are also playing for right now. And you're going to see a team that's competing really hard this week. You're going to see a team that has a great game plan that's ready to execute. And you're going to see a team that's going to be focused on the process of winning, and a team that plays together, that competes together, that loves each other. And that's all we can ask for at this point in the season, is that our guys continue to fight, take it one game at a time, and play winning football. And I'll kick it back over to Chris for the Q&A.
Great. Thanks, Coach. So, got some questions in the chat. The first one I can probably take from Charles. Sad to see Jaden go, but was very pleased with what he was able to accomplish for the Gridiron Club. What's the plan going forward to keep the momentum that he was able to create? Definitely sad to see Jaden go. That position had started not long after before I started in 2018, and started with Nate Casey, who was an alum. Shifted over to Alex Shields, who was not an alum, but had an attachment to our previous coach, Coach Abel. And then Jaden, who played for Coach Abel. And Jaden just elevated it to an entirely different level. And so he did an incredible job building relationships with you all, with so many folks across generations, and really maximizing that position to its fullest. But it is a position, again, that was sort of entry level, and was term limited. Like, we knew it was going to be a stepping stone. And Jaden had an incredible opportunity, for those of you who likely everybody knows, but he's now working with the Carolina Hurricanes with Brian Fork, a great alum who helped start the Gridiron Club with a few other folks back in the day. And he has a great opportunity, and it just shows and speaks to what that position was able to create. But we're so thankful for Jaden. With that being said, Jeff Neipel, who's actually on here as well, has been working really hard to get the position description updated. The position might look a little bit different, but we're going to have that position posted here soon, and look to hire somebody into that position as quickly as we can, but also make sure it's somebody that's the right person for the role. We'd love to have an alum; that'd be great. But at the end of the day, we want somebody who's the best fit and the best person for this role to build upon and expand the great work that Jaden has done. So that is something that we'll be looking to do very shortly, like within the next couple weeks. Position will be posted within the next week, and we'll move through that process very quickly. How do we improve our defense? Saj, I'll kick that one to you. I will say, for those of you who watched the whole game like I did, I just told Sals earlier, I think the last 2 weeks, the defense has done a much better job. And this past weekend, you saw that, where I was commenting on the two great goal line stands. The young guys have really just stepped up and made some great plays. And again, it was just sort of like finishing those games. And I also will give Saj a lot of credit. He had to make it some hard calls. This season, just in terms of the defense and his coaching staff, and it spoke a lot about what Saj prioritizes, and he does not necessarily prioritize, what he thinks is best for him. He's honestly trying to prioritize what's best for the program, and so Saj, I'll kick that to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Thanks. And great question. Um, I think that the start of this question kind of goes back to, previously, the last couple of years, last year specifically, our defense ranked as amongst one of the worst, in the conference and the country. We had some good players there who had experience, who were coming back, who ended up transferring. Many of our returning starters on defense, we should have had about 7 or 8, ended up leaving. So now we're playing a lot of guys physically who quite aren't there yet, on top of having a new scheme. And um, you know, the clear coaching, the clear point to that is, we had 6 freshmen play on the defensive line for us this year, and that's typically where the biggest jump is from high school to college, is at the line of scrimmage. So some of it's going to naturally happen, but to Chris's point, the improvements already been made. I'll elaborate a little on what Chris said. I thought through the first half of the season, on top of us being young, I didn't quite feel like schematically our guys were in great positions to be successful. I had to take a hard look at the tape, and over and over again, and kind of obviously get a feel for where things were at and kind of how things were going, and decided to make a coordinator change in house, but made a coordinator change. And elevated Coach Kasabian, our DN's coach, who came with a variety of experience, really at coaching all 3 levels of the defense. And that's where I think a lot of the issues were arising from early. And I think since coach has taken over, he has a great intensity about him. He's passionate about the game. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, which I think our guys needed to start playing with some more energy, some more juice, some more confidence. And Brent's done a good job, and he's gotten the most out of our guys. And talk about a tough transition. The week that Brent got elevated, we lost 2 more starting defensive linemen for the season to some injuries. So it's been kind of a perfect storm right now. But to Chris's point, the last 2 weeks, we've really taken a step forward. Not nowhere near where we need to be yet. But we have taken a step forward. I think early on, a lot of what you saw was kind of guys playing a little slow, a little timid, not really playing with confidence, not trusting their eyes and what they were seeing in the game, maybe moving a little too fast for them. And I think the game is starting to slow down for a lot of our guys. A lot of our young guys that are playing, they're starting to show their athleticism, their explosiveness, their playmaking ability. And again, just looking for constant improvement, really day in and day out, but game in and game out from that unit, as we are with all 3 phases.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Next is more of a comment from Roger. He said the toughest schedule since the 70s. Headwinds that Chris was talking about. Still, there's no quitting your players. They'll be competing until the fourth quarter of the Dayton game. It's a testament to you and your staff, and it's a pleasure watching you, Coach. Rock on. Let us
Thanks,
know how we
Roger.
can
Appreciate
help.
that. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. David, so what has been the reaction from our current recruits, particularly those who committed to us before the season, to our slow start so far this year? And are most of them still committed to Davidson?
Yeah, they all are. We have 24 commits right now. They're all committed. And in any year with us, as it always is, you have some guys who have really good senior seasons, and they start to pick up some scholarship offers. And because of that, you always have contingency plans. That happened to us when I was in the Ivy League at Harvard. Every single year for 5 or 6 years, December, January would roll around and you'd lose 2 or 3 guys to a scholarship. And, we have to anticipate that. And we do need to over recruit to a certain extent, anticipate that's going to happen. Not one guy that we've had committed has dropped, and we've actually picked up 3 commitments here in the last week or so. Or last, I should say, last week or two. So 24 of our target numbers 30 for this year. 24 are committed. We'll have 2 more big each home game this year. We've probably in the low amount we've had 15-ish recruits. On the higher amount, we've had close to 30 recruits and their families at. So we think recruiting is going really well. And I think one of the selling points for our, recruits is that, we are really looking for a certain type of player to do what we want to do in all three phases. And that's from a size, a speed standpoint. It's from an intangible standpoint of what we're hearing. And I think the best part about the commits that we do have is that every single one we've gotten a live evaluation on top of a film evaluation. We've also spoken to their high school coach. So where we are recruiting a certain type of player tangibly and intangibly. And a player, to Chris's point early on, the players that we've recruited and committed want the Davidson experience. We're not selling them on something that's a lie. We're not telling them they're coming here to get, 100 grand in NIL. Like, they're coming here for the Davidson experience to compete for championships, but to do it at Davidson, earn this degree, earn the access to our wonderful alumni network and our Gridiron club, and set themselves up for their success in their future.
Great. To that point, Mike asked, do you think retention will be an issue this offseason with some of the young players?
So you are always worried about it when you have young players that play well in the current day and age of college football. And we've had, we've had a lot of young guys play. We've had a handful play at a very high level. And that is always a concern. And the relationship aspect comes into play, the plan, the player development comes into play. But we're also not naive. And we understand that we're in this day and age of college football where there'll be representatives reaching out, there'll be agents, there'll be staff members, other institutions when they're not supposed to reach out, trying to get players, and it's part of the deal. And like to Chris's point, maybe the biggest part of recruiting now is recruiting your own players every year, and showing them that you appreciate them, that you have a plan for them, that you have a vision for their success here. You need to continue to sell Davidson and the experience, but that's always a concern, whether you're winning games or not winning games, if you have young guys that are playing well.
Yeah, and John asked a similar question, anticipating losing players to the transfer portal after the season concludes. If so, how many? How can we retain players who are offered NIL money from other schools? It's a difficult situation. So just to set the stage a little bit, um, you know, the PFL is non-scholarship. And so because of that non-scholarship status, when you talk about NIL and revenue sharing, schools in the PFL are actually not allowed to share revenue directly with football players. So what we're doing for men's and women's basketball, right, and what you can do outside of the PFL and FCS and FBS, you can't do in the PFL. That's just a core part of why the PFL was put together in the first place, right? Because it's a little bit of a slippery slope. If you sort of open up that window, then it devalues the PFL non-scholarship model as a whole. So it's like, man, I may not necessarily have scholarships, but now you've got teams that are paying more in some form or fashion. So they're not allowed, schools are not allowed to provide revenue share. What schools can do and help facilitate and support education around is NIL, like traditional third party name, image, and likeness opportunities. And there are schools that are engaging in that on some levels. I'm pretty sure there are a couple schools that have collectives, but even then, they're not big like deals that you see from Power Four or even some of the FCS schools that we played against, right? So I was like Tennessee Tech had big money flying around, but it's usually through the alums, and a lot of times it's deals that are set up through alums, right? Through the collective, et cetera. And then traditional third party deals, and our players do have access to that, right? Like we have a very robust influencer platform through Teamworks. We have something called the Davidson Wildcat Exchange. And our athletes are able to secure deals. So you have the Jakari Lightstays of the world, who has his own company and is actually, I think, just made it in the next round of the Steph Curry like what is it? The Under Armour
Yeah.
Steph Curry
Yeah, the
shoe
shoe
design
design. Yep. Yeah, he's in the
competition.
top 100. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but his company's name is made by Carey.
yeah.
Made by Kari, and he sells his shoes, right? And that's like part of his own business, entrepreneurial NIL. And you have others that sell their jerseys, right? Through our influencer platform. You have others that partner with organizations in and around Davidson, some that do training, right? You may have guys that work with younger players in the community, et cetera. And so it is much more of a traditional NIL model And that's something we always have had. We'll continue to promote, and guys will continue to seek those opportunities. We've had alums step up and provide some NIL opportunities through their company, right, as ambassadors or utilizing social media, what the case may be. And so those will continue to be opportunities that we should look to provide. But at its core, I don't think we're ever going to be an institution where we're going to say we want people to come to Davidson because of NIL. What we're saying is we don't want people to not come to Davidson because of NIL. So like you have to have it, right? You can't run away from it. This is the new landscape and you have to embrace it, but it's not our core mission, right? Like our core mission is the highest of high academic experience, competing at the Division 1 level, 4 years to set you up for the next 40, right? And trying to keep you here and sell you on that 4 year experience. Know that you're going to have so many opportunities once you leave this place. The facility has changed everything for us, right? Those of you who know have been around for a long time in Richardson Stadium and the weight room under the the stadium, like the Davidson College Stadium and Game Changers Fieldhouse has changed everything for us. Like that facility is on par with some of the best FCS facilities in the country, probably rivals some FBS facilities, frankly. Um, and we double down on the scholar athlete experience, doubling down on career development, and the opportunities that Davidson can provide. Everything from the student to teacher ratio, right? 8 to 1. You're not swallowed up in a big school. The people know who you are, the support that you get. So all those things, I think, from a recruiting perspective, at the macro and micro level, we're selling Davidson, right? And that's what you have to do. And you want kids that want that, right? You want kids that want that experience. So that's kind of how we'll continue to navigate that space. Not another question, but just a comment. Looks like from Rick, it's clear that the last two games were improving. Need to maintain the imagination and aggressiveness. So we're heading in the right direction. So thanks, Rick. Um, I want to be sensitive to time. It's 9:03. Um, so one thing I did want you to speak about a little bit, just to give folks insight, is just like the different level of preparation that we have, right? Like new system, new everything, but even just like, you mentioned early morning meetings, right? Like there's a different level of preparation that is unique to this program now than what we've had before.
Yeah, absolutely. To Chris's point, we are we're trying to do things here at the highest level, and we were trying to develop players here at the highest level. We're trying to schematically be at the forefront of things, and we get 20 hours a week with our players. That's our limit. That's the NCAA rule in season. 3 of those hours are game day, so that's out the window. So really you get 17 with one mandatory day off. So to our kind of players schedule and their grind, like for us to make sure they can get to their tutoring sessions at night, that they can do what they have to do academically. We don't want to keep them here any longer at night. So we practice them here after classes are done. They get here, they do their treatment and rehab with the trainers, and we're practicing every night from 5:15 to 7:15. About some nights shorter, some nights we may only go an hour if it's a walkthrough or whatever. But we have them in Tuesdays and Wednesdays in order to get our game plans in, to watch the film, to make the adjustments we need to make based off the previous day's practice. They come in here before classes start, from 7 to 7:45. We get a quick 45-minute meeting in, high energy, efficient, to get what we need to get installed for the week in the game plan. And so much of college football, modern college football schematically is a week to week game plan. There aren't very many systems, and all the credit in the world to Coach Abel and what he was able to do here offensively. It's like comparing apples to oranges, right? Like it's a different deal. Like you see, you got to specifically kind of game plan for different looks you're going to get every week. And that's the level it takes for us to be successful here. And then on top of that, it's still all new to everyone. Like it'll be a much smoother transition as we get through installs and game planning in the future, with the foundations being in our having experienced players in our system, and having just guys that have had more reps over the course of time. So, like it is like in our guys. The comment we got a lot from our guys once we started was, "This feels like big time football." And obviously, many of our guys have not experienced big time football, but in their minds, with how we're preparing and doing things, like they are understanding that we are providing them the best possible athletic experience we can. And many of us have come from different experiences, a collaboration kind of Coach Kennedy, myself, Coach Sabian, like kind of how we all kind of have done things in the past and how we can best kind of adapt it to Davidson to make sure that we're not taking away from the academic experience, make sure we're not taking away with if you want to be in a club or if you want to do something else, like making sure you still have time for that. But our players do need to also understand this is Division I football. And the Drakes of the world, the St. Thomases of the world, like they don't care that it's hard to go to school at Davidson. All they want to do is try to beat us on Saturday, right? Like so, like we're not going to get any breaks there. Our league is as better as it's good as it's ever been, as evident by the non-conference records of the teams that we play and teams that are going toe to toe with top 10 teams in the country or beating ranked teams in the country. And a big part of that is the transfer portal, which we played Drake. They had 20 transfers on their roster. We played St. Thomas. 7 of their 11 starters on offense were transfers. Like, so it's a different deal. So we need our advantage is that we can retain players better because we have a better academic program. We have a better degree. We offer a better life after graduation, elite location, great alumni base. We have a lot of good things to offer, but we also know that there aren't any quick fixes here. So for us to be the level of the program that we want to be, we need to really work hard developing our players and preparing our players to win on Saturdays by doing everything we can from a coaching standpoint. My message to our staff has been like, we are never going to win a game here where we get out coached. It's just not going to happen. Like we need to coach and prepare our players better than anyone else in the country if we want to win football games here. And that's what we've started.
Great. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank kind of the comment you made as well, Coach, just about the PFL is different, man. Right? Like and we should honestly take some credit for that. Coach Abel and his staff did a great job, but teams got better, and it's easier for teams to get better because of the natural advantages that they have. And so the PFL, the Presbyterian that's coming here Saturday, ain't the Presbyterian that we beat 6 straight times, right? Like it's a different deal, and that's fine, right? Like we're ready for it.
Right.
We'll learn from it and build from it, and that's the challenge that we have. And it's something that for us, you have to always put it in perspective, right? Like Davidson football, right? Like had some tough times, and we've built something now, and it's something that you all contributed to, and it's something that coach and his staff and his program is going to move forward, right? And I said from the very beginning, we don't want to go backwards. And I don't look at it as going backwards because I fully understand the landscape and where we are. It's building blocks, right? And it's getting better. And I see it happening. And I understand it's going to take time. And that's why we wanted you all to understand it and to share that message as well. Roger asked what you all can do. It's what you all have done and continue to do. Just keep supporting us. Keep coming to games on Saturday. Keep bringing folks to Davidson College Stadium. Keep encouraging folks to come and watch us on the road. Investment is huge, right? Like your investment is huge. And I did want to also share the program has there's been a lot of things around the program and how it was built, right? It's heavily built on fundraising. We had coaches that used to be it used to be come out of the budget or fundraise dollars, and we've actually solved that issue. We haven't shared that widely. But I give a lot of credit to President Quillen, a lot of credit to President Hicks, and it's something that I've really pushed for my 7 years here, such that now that all of our coaches are within our comp pool. And it's a testament to all that you all have done. It's a testament to all that we've tried to do to help move this program forward. And so we're in a little bit more of a sustainable space. We still will rely heavily on fundraising, but it's not what it used to be. And so we need folks to continue to invest because that's only going to make us better. That's only going to allow us to recruit more. It's only going to allow us to charter when we need to charter. It's only going to allow us to not have to make if or decisions, right? It's going to allow us to schedule better. Right? It's going to allow us to do everything that we need to do to maximize, moving this program forward. And so continue to support us, bring folks back into the fold. I always tell folks, you got to get people back to campus. That's why we've tried to do a great job. Jaden started it, and whoever we bring on board next will as well. And Jeff will, in the interim, pick that up. But we're inviting, different classes back. Get back to campus. Don't let perception outweigh reality. Let reality outweigh perception. Get people back to campus, encourage them to come back, see what we're doing, see what we're building, see what this place is truly about. That's how you guys can help us, right? I just want to thank Coach for taking the opportunity. Thank you all for your continued support. We're looking forward to these last three games, two great home games as well. And hope to see all of you all Saturday, 1 o'clock. Remember, game is switched now. It's 1 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. No longer an evening game, but we'll look forward to seeing you all on Saturday. Thanks again, and go Cats.